Welcome one and all once again to the Staff Ask Staff. I am your host once more, Coppercap. As you recall, of last month's Staff Ask Staff, the returning guest, Mountain Soul, had selected the next guest upon the Staff Ask Staff, which of course is our beloved audio engineer and website designer, DEE-DEE-TEE.
Remember when we had a website?
Yes! Back in the good old days, we may not currently have a website, but we will probably return to that maybe one day. So,
yeah. Well, back on topic.
Of course. As per usual, a certain member of staff members have submitted questions that we will ask DET. Now, these questions can range anywhere from personal to just outright, off the wall. So just kind of bear with us. We're going to get right into it. I'll spin this wheel, and whoever it lands on, we will ask our beloved DDT their question that has been submitted. So, here we go. Alright.
Oh, hey, the one who picked me to be interviewed.
First one up is Cosmic. Their first question is, what is your favorite genre of music and why?
Yes. Okay, so I actually based my pony off of trance music, because when I made him, that was like the main genre I was interested in, but right now there's all sorts of music that I listen to. Like, for instance, lately I've been listening to a lot of industrial metal and EDM. I've been listening to a lot of, like, older trance music. Oh, I dropped a battery.
No.
Listening to all sorts of music that isn't country pop. That's like the one kind of music I don't listen to is country pop. I don't want to hear about someone losing their tractor. So, with self-driving vehicles, we're eventually going to have a country song about someone's pickup truck leaving them.
I mean, it's mostly about, the lost loves, tragic,
Mother, I lost my $90,000 pickup truck.
Yeah.
It drove away.
Talking about the good old days.
Child in another state that I needed to run over. Anyways, so back on topic.
Yes.
So, yeah, so I'd say, like, it depends on my mood.
Okay.
But I have quite the wide gamut of music that I listen to, because I used to... Well, I still DJ, but I used to be on... Ponyville Live used to have a station called Sonic Radio Boom, and I actually DJ'd on there a few times. So if you've been in the Brony community for over 10 years at this point, you maybe have heard it in one of the original broadcasts.
Which of course, I do recall. I was able to access it.
Ago.
Oh shit! It's like that was yesterday, right?
2013 was only like 2 years ago, dude. It's okay. It's not that long ago.
And for anyone who listens to this, you used to be able to, you could access this radio station through, I believe, places like Canternet.
Yeah. I think that Ponyville Live was the number 2 biggest station or network at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the largest was Everfree Network back when that still existed.
Yes.
And I still remember the day that Sonic Radio Boom shut down. I actually did the logo because at one point they redid their logo and I was the one who designed it. So, yeah, I do little things here and there. So, yeah, back to the spinny wheel.
Yeah, you're still a content creator.
Yeah. Yeah, I still make pony art, some of which you can show on the show.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But yeah, so back to on topic.
Of course. We shall continue.
Did Ark.
Yep. Alright. Ark's first question is, what are the 2 things that are still on your bucket list that you would like to do someday?
Are we talking about art-wise or like things to do? Or like just like general life things? Are we talking about like artwork that I want to make, or are we talking about like general life stuff to do?
Well, he doesn't specify, but I mean a bucket list would refer more to life goals.
So one thing I really want to do is I really want to tour the Kodak plant up in Rochester, New York. That's actually where I'm originally from. Because my dad used to actually work for Kodak, and I'm quite the film photographer these days. In fact, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 film cameras in my right now sitting there. Including one I just got yesterday, a DEE-DEE-TEE from the Soviet Union. But anyways, back on topic. So, and the other thing is, and this one's probably a little more immediate than the others, I really wanted to visit the Smoky Mountain National Park with my boyfriend, which is a vacation we're actually planning for later this year. If we can get the money for it, that's the tricky part, is having the money for it.
Right.
Also to visit New York, but that's more of a bucket list thing, is New York, because Smoky Mountain National Park isn't nearly as expensive.
Right. Smoky Mountain, I mean, trees, plants, wildlife, atmosphere.
Mountains, it's just beautiful, honestly. But yeah, so, yeah, that's the two things. I really want to visit Rochester, New York, and I really want to visit, New York City at some point.
Right on.
So 2 things in the state of New York, and I don't live in New York anymore. But yeah, so let's steam.
All right. Next up. All right.
It's you.
It is me. It's me. All right.
The horsey reading this.
Yes. My first question is it possible to remix your food?
This sounds like it would be an intestinal disaster waiting to happen. What? What do you mean by remix your food?
Okay. In your opinion, what is the concept of remixing a song?
It's getting something that exists and making it, like, more unique and different, and probably completely different.
Okay. Now apply that to, say, a plate of spaghetti.
Oh, there's all sorts of different ways to make spaghetti. So you're saying if I were to make a dish completely differently, how would I do it?
Correct.
If I were to pick just one random food that I've had recently that I could think of something to do with, there is a kind of Eastern European dumpling called pelmeni. There's a bunch of different ways to say it. That's just the way that I learned to say it, was pelmeni. And it's basically little dumplings. Usually they have meat in them, but the variant I make has mushroom and onion filling. And I bet I could make something with, like, mushroom and onion and some form of cheese or something like that. That would be really neat.
What kind of cheese?
Although then I would be getting extremely close to just making tortellini with extra steps. But yeah, I'd probably fill it with, like, some form of, like, mozzarella. Yeah, that's just making tortellini with extra steps. But yeah, that would probably be a fun one to do, is to find an interesting way to do pelmeni.
So you would define that as a remixed spaghetti?
And that's the not remixed spaghetti. No, spaghetti. I think if you made the spaghetti out of some sort of vegetable, that would be neat. Like making it. I know that you can buy, like, zucchini noodles, and then I've heard that there is a sauce called no-mato sauce, which is made with, I think it was like red onions or something. My sister recommended it to me because late last year, I was going through a bunch of health problems. And I got allergy tested, and it said that I was allergic to basically every single food that I've ever eaten in my life. And that's really, really great news to hear right before Christmas. That's also why my art output kind of just stopped in September, is because I got sick with something. It wasn't COVID or the flu or anything like that. I was just like having like skin problems. And it turned out that it was actually a bacterial infection under my hair.
What?
You know how fun it is to figure out that you have a bacterial infection under your hair? Do you know how fun it is to put medication under your hair? I don't know how it got there, but I had something under, it was like on my, I think, right temple. And I didn't notice it until I was driving home from Atlanta Pride, and I itched my head and I noticed there was something on my fingers, and I was like, I think I'm starting to figure out why I have this skin problem. And it didn't go away until like February. So from October to late September to February, I was just a mess.
Holy.
Yeah, so I had to completely redo my diet. And then in, I think it was January, I got another allergy test. And this one said that basically I was allergic to all the foods that I had replaced my original foods with.
What?
So imagine my shock when I realized, okay, I can't have pasta and cheese and egg or anything like that anymore. So I'll just get my protein from cashews and lentils and stuff like that.
Right.
And then I get another allergy test that says, great news, you're allergic to lentils and cashews.
Wow.
So, I was going to be issued an EpiPen over this because the doctor was actually worried that I was just getting these random food allergies out of nowhere. I didn't end up getting the EpiPen because it would have been like $380 or more for this EpiPen with no help from insurance. And, because of course not. Yeah, eventually I was able to get it fixed by just being issued some steroid supplements. But that was an extremely not fun time, and I just can't describe it better than being told you can't have chocolate 3 days before Christmas.
Oh, no.
And then being given chocolate for Christmas and told, listen, I know you can't have this, but I bought it before you were told you can't have chocolate. And then I think finally when I was able to have chocolate, I went through that entire supply of chocolate in like 3 days. Because I was really in a mood for chocolate.
Well, at least you survived.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm not up all night itching all over my body, and that I don't have red spots up and down my arms and legs. That was extremely not fun. But yeah, I'm better now, so that's good. Don't know if I ever told anyone the whole story behind it, though, because I had been posting on Twitter about it, like, hey, I'm having weird health problems, so I haven't been able to finish any art lately. So...
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it was not fun to figure that whole thing out. And it ended up just being a bacterial infection under my hair. So go figure. Anyway, so next question.
So, yeah, before we move on, your word of advice is to people is get an allergy test.
Well, no. The allergy test was actually kind of pointless, because the thing was, is it sounded reasonable that it would be food related, because I hadn't been eating all that well. Like, my diet was just a disaster, and actually going through the whole elimination diet rigmarole actually made me lose about 25 pounds, which was actually pretty welcome, because I've been wanting to lose some weight for a time. But it ended up just being the bacterial infection was probably most of it. Took 3 or 4 doctors about, I think I went to the doctor like at least 8 times to figure all that out.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was extremely not fun, especially the times when I would show up to the doctors and it turned out that the person who was supposed to schedule the appointment didn't. One time I think I showed up to the doctor's, this might have been something else, but I showed up to the doctor's office and there was nobody there. And I waited for like 40 minutes outside of this doctor's office. And finally, I call up the doctor's office. I'm like, hey, why is nobody here? And it turned out that they had given me the wrong address.
Oh, no.
And that the actual address was 30 minutes drive away. And as I'm driving there, they call me back and they're like, hey, by the way, insurance isn't going to cover this, so you're going to owe us $180 as soon as you walk in the door. So I just didn't go to that appointment.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my advice. Don't get Ambetter. Just get somebody else. Just get somebody else. Anyways, back to the show. So
Yes.
what's the next question?
All right. The Derg. The Derg. Yes. All right. Tiberius asks, what's the biggest project you've overtaken whilst using Blender?
Okay, so this biggest project could mean two different things to me. So one of them is biggest in terms of other people collaborating on it, in which case, the two big projects that I've collaborated with were, I did the music video for Solidarity by Prince Whatever. I had 2 shots in there. And I was originally only supposed to have 1 shot because they had 2 kinds of shot in the music video because it was a multi-animator project. And obviously you can't have everyone have an entire segment of video on a 3 or 4 minute long song. So they had group shots where there would be 9 people in 1 shot. And then they had solo shots where it's one person does the whole screen. Originally, I was just supposed to have a group shot, and I think we were the only group shot that actually collaborated with each other to do something. Because everyone else just kind of did their own thing, but I think we're the only ones who thought, like... Because the lyric for the group shot was, hey, so we wrote out hey across the middle row of shots. And then later, someone was supposed to do one of the later shots with Applejack in it, and they ended up ghosting the team. So I ended up taking over their shot, and that shot actually made people laugh. It's Applejack getting in a Trabant and driving off. And if you watch the live stream video of the premiere, you can hear people giggling in the background at that.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind that the Trabant is a front-wheel drive car and therefore can't do a burnout, but it's still very funny to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that until I was halfway done rendering the video out, and I wasn't going to change the funniest thing I'd ever made. Other than that, the largest project I've done was, as a personal project, was I made a video of my pony and my boyfriend's pony solving Rubik's Cubes together.
Mm-hmm.
Which I actually have another really big project I want to do with them spending time together, but I'm not ready to announce that yet because it's going to be a lot of work.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say, yeah, working on the Solidarity music video, but I also did, I did some stuff for Doors 3. So the Pony Doors 3, which I really wish didn't get screwed over by copyrights. So now most of the video is missing sound. But I actually did 2 shots for that, both of which were shown at BronyCon, but only one of which you can see in the final, product, because time issues, because there were so many people submitting, because this was supposed to be, the last one. So everyone who could submit tried to submit. And that's why the whole video's, over 20 minutes long, if memory serves me right.
Yeah.
I did 2 shots of it. So one of them is Twilight Sparkle coming out the door, and it's a highway overlook in the middle of nowhere with my pony and his boyfriend stopped just looking at the scenery, and then they wave at Twilight, and then she flies out the door. That was actually a reference to the game Jalopy. And then later, there's a second shot, which didn't make it in the final video, but it is in the version that was shown at BronyCon, which is a bunch of ponies playing in a game room. And I set the time period as late, November to December 2001, so they're playing games that were popular from around that time.
Is this available for viewing?
Beg pardon?
Is this clip available for viewing on your channel?
Yeah, I can get both of those clips. Hold on. Let me go grab those real quick. Because I have... So, I could link the whole video, but you'd be missing out on all of the sound, because the parts of the video that I'm in is muted, which is very unfortunate.
Aw.
And I don't think, because used to DigiV had a version that was the BronyCon version on his own YouTube channel, but he seems to have deleted it since then. But I do have the original versions on my own channel, so let me get those real quick.
Alright,
I'm putting them in voice chat, I assume?
Anywhere's fine. I'll have to insert them later.
Alright, then I'll send them to myself via email. This is a joke. But yeah, here you go.
Got him.
And then I'll get the cubing animation, because I'm still really proud of that one.
Alright. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and spin. Alright, Cosmic Pro's second question. Cosmic Pro's second question is, what is your favorite sport and why? I am already familiar with this answer.
Are you asking about favorite sport to watch or favorite sport to play? Because I don't play all that many sports, but I do rather like playing tennis when I can find someone who will play tennis with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to watch soccer. Back when I could, I enjoyed watching baseball. I'd love to watch basketball because the Atlanta Hawks are really exciting to watch. And I've really wanted to watch more hockey. And in fact, I actually been watching the New Jersey Devils last year. Because thankfully, that's really easy to watch because they don't have the goofy broadcasting rights shenanigans that baseball's got going on right now. Where it's impossible to watch unless you pay a lot of money for cable TV.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they went through that. They're going through that whole mess. Because when Disney bought Fox, one of the things that happened was they had to divest their regional sports networks. And that ended up being a disaster for me to be able to watch anything.
Love it.
Yeah. So, back on topic. So, who's next? The Jark.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to try to say this one slowly so you hear everything. Did the Ewoks... He says ate, but I think he means eat. Did the Ewoks eat someone and give Princess Leia the dress that fit her perfectly in Star Wars? I have no clue what the context is here, and I've watched Star Wars. So, I don't know where Ark's going with this one.
The missile knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater, it obtains a difference, or deviation. The guidance subsystem uses deviations to generate corrective commands to drive the missile from a position where it is to a position where it isn't, and arriving at a position where it wasn't, it now is. Consequently, the position where it is now the position that it wasn't, and it follows the position that it was is now the position that it isn't. In the event that the position that it is not the position that it wasn't, the system has required a variation, the variation being the difference between where the missile is and where it wasn't. If variation is considered to be a significant factor, it too may be corrected by the GEA. However, the missile must also know where it was. The missile guidance computer scenario works as follows. Because a variation has modified some of the information the missile has obtained, it is not quite sure just where it is. However, it is sure where it isn't, within reason, and it knows where it was. It now subtracts where it should be from where it wasn't, or vice versa, and by differentiating this from the algebraic sum of where it shouldn't be and where it was, it is able to obtain the deviation and its variation, which is called Among Us. That is my answer.
Okay.
My vocal cords are tired. I've been staring at a Coca-Cola this whole time, but I haven't been drinking it because I know I would burp really loud and ruin the recording. So, that's my answer to that question.
Ark, you and me need to have a talk afterwards.
But also, goodwill exists in the Star Wars universe. It's canon. It's canon because I said so. So that's where they got it from. It's goodwill.
Questions. Aha. We landed on DD's choice.
DD's choice. Oh boy. Did I write something down for this, or do I just make something up?
Well, no, you choose between the last two questions, which of course is me or Rune.
Okay. That's a lot better, because I was like, oh, good gravy, I have to figure out what to say about myself.
No. Since there's only two remaining, you choose between me or Rune.
I would say Rune, just because I'm interested to see where that goes.
Alright. Okay. Rune asks, would you eat food that fell on the floor?
What's your question?
I'm sorry, you've already made the choice.
Aw, man. It depends a lot. Because food fell on the floor can mean different things. So if it's like, if it's food that's still in the packaging, which I'm guessing is not what in the
context,
in the range of the question. Yeah. If it was still in the packaging, that would be fine. If it landed on the floor in such a way that the food didn't actually touch the floor, but is instead still in the bowl, that would probably be fine. But it also depends on, like, is this a floor in my own home, or is this a floor in Disney World or something? Like a super high traffic, very frequently done place. Like, it depends. Or if the food is, like, something, like, wet, that would, actually, like, sponge stuff off the floor, that's an obvious no. But if it's something like, say, a still-shelled peanut, that's a very different sort of deal. Like, if I was at, like, if I dropped, like, a peanut that was still in its shell, that would be very different from eating, a blob of ice cream that fell on the ground.
Mm-hmm. It's the con suite at BronyCon.
Wait, what is it?
Let's just say the floor is the con suite at BronyCon.
I never actually went to BronyCon, so I'll just guess it is the same as FWA.
Okay.
In which case, no. I would not only not eat the food, I would, as far as I know, not exist anymore. Except in the context of me cleaning up the mess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I've seen what con suites look like, midday. And
I'm guessing it would be sort of the health equivalent of taking a big heaping spoonful of goo out of the elephant's foot of Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm.
I would genuinely rather dive headfirst into the elephant's foot than do that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anybody who's been to a convention who pays close attention to details and is kind of a germaphobe knows exactly what it feels like to be in a fully packed con suite room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's nice for conventions to offer a con suite and have drinks and snacks available. But granted, not everyone is a clean individual.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. I'm just thinking of, like, how much traffic goes through an area, and I'm like, nah, all those people walking through an area, that's probably not the most hygienic place to eat food off of, you know?
Mm-mm. Sorry. I will take the headless lounge over the con suite.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yes.
So now are we gonna do the last question, or does the last question get left off, or like what?
Well, you won't believe this, but we have a last-minute entry.
Oh boy, my favorite.
Firecracker has offered a question.
Oh boy.
So, what we could do, since this was last-minute entry, would you rather do Firecrackers first or mine?
I want to do Firecrackers, because they got it in at just the last second.
Alright. Okay. If you could have one superpower, but the person you dislike the most in the world also got that power, what would you pick?
That's a really good question. Because the thing is, it doesn't really matter what power I choose, because the person who I dislike the most in the world, I know, is stupid enough to hurt themselves with it. No matter what I pick, they would find a way to injure themselves with it. So, it could literally just be infinite puppies, and they would find a way to make it backfire on themselves, and have their fan base say Masterful Gambit. So, let me think.
Oh, so it wasn't infinite puppies, okay.
Okay, infinite puppies is a strong contender, but no. Let me think.
Alright.
I would have to say shapeshifting would be fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Going
And
full on
I don't just
Mystique.
mean like becoming. I don't mean like Hitman style shape shifting, where it's just like I put on a different T-shirt and suddenly I'm a different person.
Oh,
I mean, like
more
it
like
would
the
be cool to,
Pokemon
like,
Ditto.
I'm thinking about like being able to like anamorph into a horse or something like that, or anamorph into a Lucario. Oh my god, the OnlyFans money on that one. Anyways,
Oh, dear.
yeah, the shape-shifting sounds like a lot of fun. And I know the person I dislike most in the world would find a way to hurt himself with it, so that's good. So yeah, I'm not going to say who it is, don't worry.
Yeah, let's
but
refrain
yeah.
from that.
Yeah, anyways, so any last-minute questions?
Yes. Mine.
Yes.
Mine, we've saved the best for last.
I think I saw it, and it was very long, so I already know this is going to be fun.
Wait, how are you able to see it?
I
Oh,
can see your screen.
oh, because I minimized the... Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ba ba da ba 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 ba. I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. In the song Pinky's Brew, as most Brony fans who lived through the age of 2012 to 2016 know exactly what that song is, she talks about opening portals to the land of the dead. Would you travel there? Can you leave your world behind? Because if you don't wear pants, if you can't dance, can you leave your world behind?
So you're asking, would I go to the land of the dead if it means I can't come back?
Correct.
If I'm understanding that. Okay, so first off, every single person on this planet is going to make that journey at some point anyway. So, I guess the answer is a required yes, but not until necessary.
Well, it's not. It's not to be phrased as like an act of suicide. It's
No,
not.
no, I didn't mean it like that. I mean
Okay.
everybody's going to die, and so I don't want to die before it's necessary.
Right. Now, granted, this being.
That's a very dark interpretation of this
Yes.
song.
Yeah. Listeners, remove those thoughts from your minds.
There's
But
so much in this world to live for, I assure you. For instance, Costco pizza.
of course, how could you say
That
no?
shit was. But yeah. Yeah, so yeah. I don't think I would, because I've got too many friends here that I care a lot about. Like you and my partner.
Aw,
And the girl reading this.
that's awesome.
And this message from our sponsor.
Oh gosh, how to chew 5 gum.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Ugh.
That was an unexpectedly dark answer, but yes.
No. It's actually it can have a dark concept if you look at it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you handled it well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of worded it a bit strangely too, I'll admit. I meant to say, like, I'd rather not die before my time, basically. Which is a very dark message for a song that's just about a pink pony singing about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I never actually heard the whole song. I remember getting recommended it a million times, and then I just never watched it. I just never got around to it.
Well, with all the thousands of songs that are available now,
Yeah.
and granted, you know, through the era of season 1 to season 4, there was like a bunch of golden songs that came out during that time.
Absolutely.
Pinky's Brew is just one of them.
I really wish I'd made more pony music. I think I only ended up making like 2 pony songs that you can find on my YouTube channel. But they weren't all that good. And one of them was going to be in... Shoot, I don't remember the name of the collaboration. It's this big collaboration that was headed by Circuit Fry, and they ended up having like a song from like Odyssey, Eurobeat, and Living Tombstone on there. But I didn't end up getting in, and at the time I was really, really salty.
No.
Because the guy who ran the collaboration got 3 of his songs in. But, over time I've realized that, like, it's fine. Actually, the song I submitted was kind of crap in hindsight. But yeah, I really want to make more pony music. I actually had some pony music I've been working on that was Wonderbolt themed that I thought would be neat.
Ooh, I like to hear that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can send you a preview of it later, because it's not in any way ready for public release yet.
Right.
But it's kind of close-ish. It's just that I wanted to also make a music video for that, and oh boy, that'll take a while.
I mean, it's so easy to get intimidated when you got people like, when you got pony creators like Forest Rain and Fritzy Beat and Wooden Toaster all, you know, putting these hit songs at the tops of the charts, and, you know, you feel like, you know, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not that I'm worried about, especially since I don't think a lot of the musicians you just listed still make music. Like, I don't know if Wooden Toaster still does stuff. I can't remember. A lot of the really big pony musicians kind of went on to do their own acts that aren't necessarily fandom related, which is fine. Like,
right.
I miss hearing their pony music a lot, but it's so nice to hear them continue on and like see how their music evolve.
Oh yeah. Fritzy Beat is the only one I know of that still puts out content every now and then.
Yeah, a lot of the I understand why some people would do that, because like it can be kind of limiting to just have all of your music centered around one intellectual property, and you end up with people like Silvahound, who Atlanta area represent, by the way, who went on to make an extremely popular Has Been Hotel remix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the it's like, I understand why people do that. And like I find it kind of funny because I went from making not pony music to making pony music. Or I went from making not pony music to making pony music to making not pony music. Because I just can't make up my dang mind.
You're just multilingual. You're no, wait. You're
I'm
bilingual.
Multilingual.
Yes.
I speak English, a bit of German, a bit of Dutch, been trying to learn Esperanto, a little bit of Russian. At one point I tried to learn Czech, and that was everything hard about Russian, but somehow even worse. Tiny bit of Spanish, lo siento. I don't really speak it very well at all. And recently I picked up French. Which is funny that I would know German and French, because German, there are no silent letters, and in French, there are entire silent sentences. So, that's a joke, but yes.
No, I believe you if it was true.
Like, I've done a lot of my learning through Duolingo, and I've tried to figure out what the logic is behind what entire words you pronounce and what entire words you just don't really pronounce. And it's tricky. It's really tricky. But yeah, at one point I think let's see. I think Duolingo's gotten a lot better with the teaching stuff lately, because I know when I tried to learn Russian the first time, they just flat out do not tell you how the alphabet works. Which is a problem when you're talking about the Cyrillic alphabet, because you can't really tell exactly how each letter's pronounced unless you have it directly explained to you. Which they've gotten apparently better at now. What?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. Ask away.
Have you ever messed with that one language program they keep trying to force down people's throat, Babbel?
I keep getting ads for that, and if I recall correct, Babbel is not free. So I haven't messed with it. Duolingo's free, but they show you ads. And then there is Busuu, which is apparently it's also, you can do it for free or you can pay, but you can only do one language at a time. And I actually kind of want to try Busuu sometime, like even if I have to pay for it, because for instance, German has multiple dialects, and Duolingo doesn't really explain that. Whereas Busuu even goes into like how there is, for instance, Schweizerdeutsch, which is Swiss German. And Swiss German sounds very different from regular German. It's kind of a mixture between German and French. Kind of. It kind of sounds like someone speaking German and French at the same time. Because again, it's Switzerland, they speak French and German. And then there's also like the way that case works isn't always very well explained. So like in Russian you have it where you have like, at least, I forget how many exactly, there's like at least a dozen variations of each word to say, like, are you doing it yourself? Are you describing another person doing this? Are you doing this with a friend? Are you doing this with just yourself? Like, it's like there's so many different variations of it, and that's actually what made me quit Czech, was the case system was even more complicated. And if you can believe it, it was harder to pronounce the Czech words even though they're in the Latin alphabet, because it just reads like a cat on a keyboard to me. Whereas Russian, like, a CH sound is one letter. But when you read it read out, it doesn't necessarily, you can't necessarily, like, comprehend that, if that makes any sense. It's weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
Language is very weird, but incredibly fascinating.
Indeed.
Yeah, like how, I think Russian also has a word for, there's a lot of words for emotions in Russian. Like, I'm not sure if I'm quite explaining this perfectly exactly right, but I think there's a word for that feeling when you have just blown up at somebody, like you just screamed at someone and you get that immediate feeling of regret that you just screamed at them. They have a word for that.
Oh, we have a word for that in English. It's called, pardon the
Oops.
French. Yeah, pardon
Yes.
my French, yeah, but it would be called a shit show.
Yeah, or German, the word for space, like outer space, there is no one word, but instead it is Weltraum, which is world room, as if the entire universe is just one huge room. Which I think is just adorable.
Well, that was our guest, DEE-DEE-TEE, joining us on Staff Ask Staff. Now, before we wrap up, as per usual, DEE-DEE-TEE, our current guest, will select next month's guest to appear on the Staff Ask Staff. Now, since Mountain Soul was the last guest on here, and Siren was the guest before that, they cannot be selected. But however, the rest of the staff is available to be a guest on the show. So, DEE-DEE-TEE, your selection, if you please.
So I can't do Cosmic Prose, and I can't do who else?
You can't do Mountain Soul. You can't do Siren. Cosmic is one of the people on staff that can be a return guest.
Oh, okay. I kind of think it would be neat to do Tiberius. That'd be fun.
Very well. Tiberius has been selected. The Durg of our staff will appear next month in Staff Ask Staff. We thank you for joining us here on the Omega Republic Staff Ask Staff, and we thank DEE-DEE-TEE for joining us and for giving us the insight to the questions that were asked. DEE-DEE-TEE,
You're very welcome.
Any closing remarks?
Shout out to Simple Flips.
I don't really get the reference myself, but
You will one day.
hmm.
You will see it in a Mario 64 video and be like, oh! Shout out to Simple Flips!
Oh my.
I understand that reference.
Maybe I will. Well, we thank you all again for joining us on the Omega Republic, and we hope to see you here again next time.